Hey folks, B59 here, and I think we're about to start an interesting adventure here in episode 8 of our Piasa Transport playthrough. Last time we set up our passenger service on the Ohio River, and I think it's off to a pretty good start. And previously we had run a passenger service from basically now Memphis through St. Louis and then on up to Chicago with a few stops in between. So we're getting a pretty good river system going here. And now we're going to do something pretty complicated. We're going to start a cargo service on the Ohio River, and it's going to have multiple elements to it. One of the easy parts is we're going to take this oil outside Evansville, the crude. We're going to take the crude into the oil refinery in Mount Vernon. Well, they call it Mount Vernon Oil Refinery, not quite sure why. And then we'll ship it to the Evansville fuel refinery and then take that up to supply Cincinnati's fuel needs. The other thing that we're going to do, because we really don't want that to be a one-way route and then go back empty. So the other thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up this steel and then ultimately get it all the way over here to this machines factory in St. Louis. And likewise, we're going to bring some planks up from Cape Girardeau to St. Louis so that we can start making some tools, or rather some machines, which St. Louis would like plenty of. So that's our plan. And then, so that we don't send the ship back from the machines factory all the way empty back to Evansville, we're going to also load it up with some I thought we were going to we're going to load it up with some food for Louisville. So, this all is going to get to be a fairly complicated delivery system, but pretty darn interesting. And I think that the way to start this, because it's going to have a lot of implications around our harbors, we're going to spend a ton of money doing all that. I might as well unpause now so that we can start the money rolling in. I think what I'll do first is put the iron and coal routes into the steel mill, and then also set up the oil into the oil refinery, the crude into the oil refinery. So that'll get us some money going and let us build up our coffers to undertake some major harbor revisions. There's a lot of other decisions we're going to have to make along the way. And one of the first, really, we've made the decision that we're not going to use trains until 1885. And I certainly don't want to use them for any of the major routes. But there are some stub routes that may end up making a lot of sense. I think we don't need to do it here for the cargo, for the coal and the iron into this steel plant, because I think we can make an efficient run with carriages. And we're about to unlock the next level of carriage anyway, which will help out. I think it's going to get a little more complicated when we look at the logs here in Cape Girardeau, because this line is already completely full, and adding more trucks, I think, is at some point is just going to start backing them up. So, this is one place we may need to think about it, but we're going to set that aside for the moment and not worry about it yet, because we have a lot of work to do before we get to that stage. So let's take a look here first at what we want to do with this steel mill. And I think ideally I'd like to run a road from here to here and then configure it such that we can have a lot of traffic on it that isn't going to be backing each other up. So that we have both the coal trucks and the iron trucks coming in here, picking up cargo up here, dropping it off down here, and not bumping into each other. We could do it with a train line, but I don't think we have to. And here we are, we've got our carriages coming in there. So, so one of the things I learned from one of the comments on Steam from Vimster is that I have been failing to maximize the money I make off my truck routes because I've been tending to put them close together. I come out as far as I can before I put my truck stop in here, the truck station, and then when I drop it off as far away as I can. And I was doing it under the assumption that shorter distances meant quicker deliveries and fewer trucks. But Vimster did a great job of explaining why that thinking is wrong, and that what I really need to be doing is keeping the distance as far apart as possible. So I'm going to do that, although I think here, well, we'll see what happens here. So where do we start? Let's start by putting in truck station here. And I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit longer. It really doesn't matter how long it is. Oh shoot, didn't need to. Because, we're only going to be able to pick up as much as we can pick up anyway. So I think what I want to do, though, is set it up like this. And then configure it to add a street access here. And then hook up this street access here so that we can end up creating a loop. For the trucks to go. And so what we'll end up doing here is having the coal trucks come down one side and the iron trucks come down the other, and everybody will be happy. The other thing I want to do, though, is I really don't want to run all these trucks through town. It is way too many trucks to be running through town. It's going to cause lots of emissions. It's going to clog up the traffic and everything else. So I think what I'll do is come over here with our road. And let's see, how do we want to do this? Let's just hook it up here first. And then we'll come in here. And then we'll bring it out to here. And then at this end, we'll put a couple of drop-offs in. One on either side of the street. And I'm partly doing this for economy because I could put another full-scale bus station with two drop-offs with two cargo platforms on there. But the trouble is it's a lot more expensive. So we're going to try it this way. And then we'll create, and I think this will reach, yes, it reaches the steel here. And this reaches both of the mines up here. So we'll now go ahead and create a couple of lines. The first line will go from here to here. And it will be picking up iron ore. And we might as well wait till full at this end. And we will load the iron ore, and at the other end, we will drop it all off. And this, we'll call this iron trucks. And this is Cincinnati, right? Yeah. I guess we'll get our spelling right. And we're auto-saving. And then we'll do a similar run here with the coal trucks. So we'll add another line. We'll run from here down here. We'll color it black for coal. We'll also wait till full up here. Load with coal, and at the other end we're going to unload with coal. And then let's see, what are they showing here? Are they? Oh, this is perfect. So they've automatically put one on one side and one the other. Great, great, great. And up here, I think I want to put a couple waypoints in so that we go ahead and take advantage of that as well. But first, I want to rename this. So let's see here. Let's get a couple of waypoints in here. And for our coal trucks, we will manage the line, and let's see, they're coming in this way, so after 6th Street we want to add, oh, where did our waypoints go? Oh, here they are. Here we go. And then for our iron trucks, we want to do the same thing. Except this time we want them to, oops, come out here and go that way. So we have minimal crossover. They do cross over there, but not too bad. The iron trucks will come up and around, and the coal trucks will come around, and then at the other end as well. And I think this system is what's going to enable us to run, just a crap ton of trucks. So let's get some vehicles in here, and I think I want to start with, I think 20 each, frankly, and we'll see if we can make that work. So now let's see, what should we run here? We can run these carriages with side stakes, so we'll buy 20 of them. They are going to clog stuff up at first, I bet. But that's alright, they'll spread themselves out. And then we want to get 20 more for the iron trucks. Okay, and so we can see that the mines are now producing. They're filling up the cargo station. We're going to have a whole bunch of trucks heading up there, and away we go. Haha. Now this is kind of nice to see. It looks like we have 54 people waiting to catch this passenger ferry that's coming up the Ohio to Cincinnati. Excellent. Full lines. And as we mosey down here to the oil refinery, we see that Louisville also has a lot of people on their bus lines that want to go elsewhere. So you know what? Let's add a few more vehicles. 2 more. Let's just go ahead and add 4. Have 4 altogether. And as we mosey down here, we see that our counterclockwise run is heavy, and the other one is. So maybe we'll add a couple vehicles to both of those. I just want to keep everything running smoothly on these lines because let's see, did we already do this one? Which one did we do? Yeah, let's do this one now. And we'll just double it. I'd rather have these buses have a few half-empty loads and be picking up all the traffic they can and getting it to these harbors to send people back and forth to the cities. Okay, So now we need to get a second service in here. And this one is pretty interesting because, you know, there's two elements here. First, we have to get the crude to the oil refinery, and then the refined oil to the fuel refinery. And getting from here to here isn't excellent. I mean, we can snake around town, or we can do a river transport. And we can use the cargo line that's going to be delivering all of this anyway up to Cincinnati, and have it pick up the crude here, deliver it here to be refined, and then it can take the refined oil up. So I think that's probably what we'll do, but we are going to need first some regular vehicles to transport the crude over to the oil refinery. And again, I'm going to use a drop-off, but I am going to use a turnaround to do it. And again, I don't think I want to go too far in here. I really don't want my cargo trucks to run into town at all, because it will cause emissions. And the other thing is, the way this is placed, when we're looking at a distance like that, we're not, you know, the amount that we're going to make off this line isn't going to be substantially different if we put it here versus here, because the starting point's going to be over here, which is roughly the same distance anyway, because I kind of have to go out of their way. So let's get the streets in here, and let's see, how do we want this to look like? I want it to come off this bridge, and like that, and then, well, that's supposed to be curvy. It's not very handsome. Let's see. Now, let's see. How about something like this? Okay, slightly awkward, but not bad. And if we put a drop off here, will it reach? Indeed it will. So how can we make this work? Right here. We'll drop it right here. Yep, we got reach. And then we'll need to put another bus station here. And it'll be, this time we only need one. And we'll get it. Yeah, you know, I don't think there's any benefit to moving it over here either, because I think the distance is going to be about the same. So we might as well just put it here. And we'll get it over here a ways so it's not sitting in the middle of that field. Alrighty, and then we will add another line. And this one will go from crude well to here. It'll be a darker line too, because it is crude. Yeah, it looks sweet. And that looks sweet. So what we need to do then is tell it to wait till full. Load crude. And at the other end, unload crude. Okay, that's ready to go. And we'll get the vehicles over here. They'll have a bit of a drive to get there, but hey, not too bad. For this, we need the covered carriage. Because steak, oh, it does carry crude, doesn't it? Huh, interesting. Well, you know what? We might as well get those in. I kind of like the looks of the ones with side stakes. And let's start with 15. I'll go on line 1, and let's go ahead and name this line to Crude Trucks Evansville. Okay, so those lines are going to go in and they're going to start making us money right away, which is good news because we're going to need it. I think setting up this river system is going to take a bit of work. So rather than start that now, instead I'd like to swing around through our existing lines, just take a quick peek how things are going. Cincinnati, things are looking pretty good. Only 14 people here, but I think it just loaded up and is heading down. Let's see, where is that boat? Oh, there it is. Okay. 70 of 70. This line is doing really well. Oh, and I only left one passenger behind. That's great. And then down here we have 45 people waiting, and we'll probably have a few more before we get done. Still have a lot of people on this counterclockwise run. You know, I'm tempted to get one more. No. Okay, so that's doing pretty good. Let's just swing down here to Memphis. And by the way, interesting story about Memphis. So I mentioned that earlier episode that Mark Twain's brother, Mark Twain became a riverboat pilot. Well, his younger brother also became a riverboat pilot. And you know, partly following in older brother's footsteps. And he ended up dying tragically in a riverboat accident not far from Memphis. The steamboat blew up. That was one of the hazards of steamboats, is that something would go wrong with the boilers, the pressure would build up, and they would blow up. And it was, I believe, a run that Mark Twain himself was supposed to be on, but he had a dispute with the pilot. This was when he was, I think, still a cub, and basically got thrown off the boat. So he wasn't on the run, but his younger brother was, and he was very severely injured, scalded. The way people would get hurt in these accidents is the steam would, when the boiler blew up, there'd be this huge ball of steam, and it would scald people's lungs. And I think that's what happened to Mark Twain's brother, and he ended up being taken to Memphis and treated by the people there very kindly. They treated all the people that were injured in this accident very kindly. And Mark Twain has a very moving passage about that in the book. And maybe sometime, if you guys are interested in my dwellings on Mark Twain and the reading, that little reading I did time before last from Life on the Mississippi, you know, we can keep going there. Let me know. Leave a comment if you're interested in that. Anyway, that was something that Mark Twain carried with him through his whole life. He felt guilt about what had happened to his brother. So here we are. You know, if you recall, a couple episodes ago, we had a lot of gridlock here because I had really screwed up the lines in Memphis. But we've got them sorted out now. And in fact, everything looks to be moving pretty good. We may actually have too much. See, we have a rate of 60 on this line. We have a need of 90, so we're still not meeting it. I think that must mean we're not getting enough, we're not getting enough planks from Cape Girardeau. Let's see, our barge here is still only coming up with 24. So what does it show us on this line as our rate? It says we have a rate of 98. We have plenty of planks waiting, so we're going to go down with a full load. It has a frequency of 9 minutes, so that makes sense it would have a rate of 98. Well, we'll see how that balances out over time. In terms of our food lineup here, it's looking pretty good. Trucks aren't waiting very long and they're getting filled up. Our ferry line, we've got a lot of people that are interested in going to Memphis. Nobody interested in going to St. Louis. Wonder if that's because we just picked them all up. Indeed we did. We do have 56 people though going up to St. Louis on this St. Louis, Cape Girardeau, and Memphis line. So, you know, that's doing fine too. In St. Louis at our really interesting harbor, we've got 53 people waiting to go back down Cape Girardeau, Memphis way. So that's excellent. And we have 28 looking to head north up the Illinois. And it looks like our passenger ferry there is coming in with 54 passengers. So that's good. It also looks like we have finally sorted our bus line here in Springfield. It looks like they're managing to deal with all the traffic now. We had problems, if you recall, with them stacking up here, then stacking up there, and then we ended up just putting in one intercity line and then one line out to the harbor. And it looks pretty good. It's, you know, there's 31 people waiting here, but that's because it just landed. And that's good. And then here in Peoria, again, bus line looks to be in control. We have 14 people going to Chicago and 11 waiting to go back to Springfield. Huh, nobody looking to go to St. Louis, huh? Interesting. What's wrong with St. Louis, folks? You don't like St. Louis, or do you have another way to get there? Let's see. Well, no, it looks like you have 37 and 30 with 100% line usage, so... Well, you know, maybe not all of these folks are going to Springfield. Maybe they're just going to Springfield next. And then up here, it looks like, whoa, we're not able to keep up with the tram service there. So it looks like it's okay here, but when load gets dropped off here, it's not able to keep up. So we're going to add a couple more trams to this end as well. Wow, we have 7 already. Let's add 3 more. And Chicago, you know, that's pretty good. We have 20% line usage inside Chicago itself, which is actually better than probably any of the other cities I've got. Look at this. We have 2 and 3 people going to Cape Girardeau. I think last time we only had 1, so that's picking up. And then we have 1 person going to Memphis. Real traveler there. Milwaukee is not us yet. And then quite a few going down to Peoria, not a surprise. Well within reach. Quite a few going to Springfield, not a surprise. And actually a pretty good number going to St. Louis. So, you know, this line, hasn't felt, oh, that's right, this is a long line. It's not that we have a short one that goes back and forth here. So we have 4 boats that are going in and out. They're not totally full going from Peoria to Chicago, but I think for now we're going to leave it as these long lines. I think it's not perfect, but it'll do for now. We could probably put a ferry line between Chicago and Milwaukee. You know, that's the thing about this map. The more you dive into it, the more you see the opportunities to build out boat traffic. And I'm thinking by the time we're done here, these rivers are going to be teeming with riverboats. So I don't know about you folks, but I'm really getting into this and having a ton of fun. Our other lines look like there's no big, well, let's see. Looks like we're still having trouble keeping up. I have a funny feeling this whole deal with the, are we getting the food delivered in here? No, it says we are. Do we have 2 lines here for the food? We have 1 for bricks and food. Are we not using the other, we're not even using, oh my gosh. We're putting everything on this line. Oh no, we're using different lines. I guess we just need more. We just need more vehicles on our delivery line. And it looks like it's trucks that are suffering. Yeah, or bricks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we need that many more vehicles. We got 90% and 70%. Just really backed up. Not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure why this one isn't more full. But you know what? We're not going to spend too much time worrying about that today, but we are going to add 2 more vehicles here. And then we'll come back and see how that's done. So that's it. I think we've spent plenty of time today. We've made a good start on building out our Ohio River cargo run. It's going to be very interesting. Looking forward to the next series or the next episode. So I hope you join me. Hope you've enjoyed this. And if you have any thoughts on Mark Twain or what you'd like to see in the series, please leave a comment. Thanks very much, and see you soon.